All right. Good luck, guys.
Well, yeah, just don't include your audio for the broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you today to the hills at Lime Rock Park for the third preseason event for the IESC GT second season. And ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be an exciting, if not difficult, race for all intents and purposes. Today, 13 drivers will be bringing their various cars, their various manufacturers, the brands they represent here to this track, which is known not only for its various IMSA and club racing event, but also for the strange thing that in real life you do not ever see any kind of on-track action here on Sunday due to blue laws. However, it's also one of the smallest, if not the single smallest event on the IESC GT schedule. The length of the track is only 1.5 miles, comparable to your average NASCAR track. And yet, we're going to be running GT cars here, which are more suited for a much wider, much longer kind of circuit. This means that drivers who are able to get onto that preferred lane of choice as early as they possibly can and are able to make the fewest mistakes possible will be at the best scenario. Also, a noteworthy thing about this event is that throughout the majority of your laps here, you'll be running at about 60 to about 160 miles an hour. And outside of the front straightaway, you very rarely get above 110 miles an hour. There's not going to be a whole lot of speed variation around the entire track. And that, in turn, means that there's not really going to be a whole lot of places to try and overtake someone on pure speed alone. It's going to be all driver skill for every single update. Overtake, whether it be driver skill in avoiding someone else's mistake, driver skill in intimidating the driver in front or behind you into making a mistake, or driver skill by just not screwing up yourself, not to mention obviously strategy. It's going to be all driver and very little focus on the car today. The very small number of drivers who may have a car advantage is still the Ford GTs, as we all know, they have more downforce and more mechanical grip than most other cars in the field. So that small amount of speed loss that you get from straightaway to corners on most tracks is even less for the Ford GT simply because of that. Now, coming into today's race, we're going to be looking at a 96 lap event, easily the longest race of all when it comes to just overall number of laps. But the single lap here under qualifying was around 50 seconds, and the pole for a third time in the preseason event, which was taken by Foxxy Gaming HD, was a 49.450, while everyone else was at least 50.5. Right? Yeah, 50.567. So the entire field has a blank of about 1.2 seconds over them. Now, with that in mind, with sub 1 minute laps, it's going to take a very, very long time to actually get a race that's about an hour to an hour and a half taken care of. Also, unlike at Bathurst, there is a mandatory stop. So we're not going to see drivers like Shum or like Jacob Variable trying to go, and not Jacob Variable anymore, sorry. Whoops, GTRC Jacob. We're not going to see those drivers go and try to push their tires to extreme limits anymore. Also, no one in the field is running all-wheel drive machines. Everyone is going back to the rear-wheel drive cars, which has been the norm for the series. Also, here joining me in the booth today, I happen to have TTJ111. TJ, welcome to the booth.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so TJ, you've run a handful of races in this series last season. You also went ahead, you were able to pass qualifications for the series, although you're not running today, instead choosing to stay back in the booth. So going into this event here, what do you think is the best course of action to take when it comes to pit strategy?
Pit strategy.
Also, get into a spectate mode.
My bad. Will do. I believe it's just going to be whoever pits first, and it kind of goes hand in hand with if you're going to be pitting during the middle, because it's like, do you really want to go full tires and go full on tires, full gas, and just go straight ahead, and you don't really know how your tires are really going to wear, or do you pit early but then take the chance of having to pit again? So it's more so anybody's game here with pitting here.
All right, so another thing just want to throw out there, this track is also very unique because it's kind of, again, it's in similar form to a NASCAR circuit. Nearly every single corner here goes in one direction. As you see, our pole sitter, Foxxy Gaming HD, going around the lone left-hand corner here. Besides that, every other turn on this circuit is a right-hander, although not every turn on the circuit is the same in any way. So, TJ, just real quickly, when it comes to lap times, when it comes to actually getting the rubber on the road, what is the best way to try and make anything work here? Do you want to go all out, attack the track for all 96 laps? Do you hold back, just try to keep a consistent pace? Where do you as a driver choose?
From my perspective, I would just try to take it easy on these first couple laps. I mean, you got about 95 more laps to go, you know? So you would think that just as a personal driver, I would start out slow and easy and just work my way up in through the pack and just wait for people to pit and then start going full on, because then you have the advantage over everybody else.
All right, well, we're underway. Green flag here. There's no standing start today. It's all rolling start. As we go in, Foxxy Gaming HD, who was our pole sitter, he's going to get overtaken by the Ford GT of Ferrari Boss. Ferrari Boss just barely missed out on the pole as he just overcooked the car a little bit in the final corner on the final lap. But he's out in front right now. Foxxy Gaming is falling to a battle with Dragon's X Ferrari and that Viper for third. Rockmaro farther back has slid off track in about 7th position here. We're going to try and move back to try and take a quick look at him in the middle of the pack as he's in the battle with Excalcero and the bearded guy who's a newcomer to the series. Down the hill around the final corner here, as Rock has now slipped to 8th, but he has gotten ahead. GTRC Jacob has actually ran wide coming out of the final corner. He'll throw up a little bit of a dust cloud over Excalcero and Rockmaro. Rockmaro's going to dive to the inside of Excalcero. He makes it work, but he ends up running wide, and Rockmaro is going to slide all the way off the circuit and drop to 11th, last on the grid at the moment. Well, actually, no, there is one person farther back on the field behind. That is you, Scutian, who is in that number 3 Chevy right now. Meanwhile, we're going to go ahead and look back at the front of the field as Ferrari Boss continues to open up a very significant lead right now, but he is attacking it. Look at that rear end just sliding. And Dragon's X Ferrari has now dropped all the way down to the 10th position, despite having a relatively 11th position actually, despite having a very solid opening run in qualifying. This means that Kazubeli, who did not have a greatest run in qualifying, he's now up to 9th position. He's trying to hold Rockmaro off behind him while seeing if he can do anything with the bearded guy up ahead. Kazubeli's going to run a little wide heading to turn 1 here. You can see the BMW really struggling to put power down. Right now, though, our fastest car and driver on the track, that's Yunvon in a Chevy running right in the middle of the pack. There's a little bit of open gap there to the cars ahead of him. In fact, we're going to ride on board with Yun as we watch this three-way battle right now. And PM221 gets sideways. Yunvon's going to look to the inside. PM is going to shut the door. And no, Yunvon is going to make a lunge on PM at the top of the hill and now head back down. And he's going to set his sights on Skullsrow and Jacob now. Just going to stay silent for a moment, right on board with Yunvon so you can get a feel for this circuit.
We got a huge train coming up from, I believe, that is from 4th all the way until 11th. A huge train. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, we got Ludicrous Speed, Foxxy Gaming, and Ferrari Boss all up in their own little pack, pulling away from the rest of the group. Ferrari Boss trying to make a move on Foxxy, going up on his left side, but Foxxy was able to overtake. Wait, maybe not.
No, looks like
takes over.
Foxxy slid wide, so that puts Ferrari Boss back up front, and now Foxxy is going to have to see if he can hold off our defending series champion Ludicrous Speed.
You see that?
So it's a Mercedes-Benz sandwiched by... Yeah, that's the Mercedes-Benz sandwiched by 2 Ford GTs. You can see the Mercedes has a lot more straight line speed, but that Ford GT has a lot more handling. He's going to push Foxxy a little wide. Foxy's going to hold that line on the outside. And now here on the straightaway, I imagine that Mercedes-Benz will be able to pull away from Ludicrous just a little bit here. Gonna go back and look at that little scuffle that's going on for 5th, 6th, and 7th. PM221, who slid back to 7th, he's now trying to hound Yunvan. And as you said, we have a massive train that's begun to form here from about 4th on back. All these cars. Now, if any of these guys make a mistake, they know they're immediately going to go all the way to the back. So this is a good case of, well, do you want to try and push and run the risk of making a mistake? After all, no attack, no chance. But at the same time, like, you gotta have, where's the balance? What, do you attack or do you just run in line right now? Here comes PM, he's gonna look to the inside of Yunvan, and it looks like he will make that overtake work as they head into turn 1. That Viper a little bit sideways as they run down into the single left-hander here, but it is enough to put him ahead of Yunvan here. Both cars are actually sideways for a moment. But yes, it looks like PM is going to hold on to it, and he slides wide. Drag's Ferrari slides wide. Rockmar slides wide out behind him. And I think the bearded guy, something may have just happened to him because it looked like he might have gone off circuit just a bit also as well. So as these two drivers are battling for 6th and 7th, it's causing everyone out behind them to try and temper their momentum. At the same time, it's letting 4th and 5th place of Exculsoro and Jacob start to pull away a little bit. Exculsoro looking on the inside of GTRC Jacob. Dodge Viper versus Chevy GT. As we're now about a 10th of the way through tonight's event. And we see here comes Exculsoro. He's going to look to the inside of Jacob, but it doesn't look like he has enough straight line speed to make the move outright work. He's going to try a late dive there. The rear end of that car slides out just a bit, and they have enough of a gap on PM that they must feel comfortable being able to do this kind of battling right now. Although PM is closing in rapidly, they're going to have to work this situation between them out fast or run the risk. And Yunvan runs off circuit farther back, and now he is going to fall to prey to Drager's X Ferrari. No, I'm sorry, not Dragon. Yo, yes, I am right. So Dragon's X Ferrari has now overtaken Yunvan successfully. See PM221 also having a little bit of a hiccup farther up. Meanwhile, we're going to go back to that battle for 2nd position right now. And the first driver of the day has been lapped. That's US Uskutian. I hope I'm saying his name right. But it looks like he was able to step aside and let the top 3 drivers get away without too much of an issue here. The gap between first and second has now opened to about 1.4 seconds. As we leave our podium drivers right now, we're going to take a look once again at this battle for 4th and 5th between GTRC Jacob and Exculsoro. Right now, your leader, Ferrari Boss 237, has put down the single fastest lap of the race. So now this time Jacob's going to take a much more defensive line, the center of the straightaway, and Exculsoro is going to make a huge lunge, but it's not going to work. In fact, PM221 has to back out of it. So now PM221 has joined. It's turned this battle for 4th into a menage a trois, and Exculsoro has slid off circuit. He continues to slide. He's going to go all the way back to 10th, from 5th to 10th, just from a little bit of a lockup. And Yuskutian, he seems to have pulled aside for the moment so as to make sure that no one else ends up running over him. Exculsoro, under practice, I got to talk with him for a little bit. He said that he was very confident in his pace. Well, it seems like that pace didn't quite work out for him very well under normal race circumstances, and he's going to drift the final corner there. So now this has allowed Jacob to hold on to the 4th position. That's actually let him open up a little bit of a gap on 5th place, which is PM221. Dragon's X Ferrari is still running back there in the 11th position as he's running around turn 1, heading into the left-hander right now, while leader. And it looks like our 3rd place driver, Foxxy, may have actually exited the circuit for a brief moment. He's now dropped back to 3rd in that Mercedes-Benz, and he's going to slide sideways coming out of the final corner once again. Now, he's running all on his own. There's absolutely no one behind him for a long way. He can afford to make these kind of mistakes and not really drop out of the podium. But we're definitely seeing a little bit of weakness from the guy who won Bathurst, although granted, that Bathurst win was very, very close, and won at Catalunya. Regrettably, we did not get to broadcast last week's Catalunya preseason race. But a 6.8 second gap between Foxxy and Jacob right now, as 2 Ford GTs that are holding the top spot at the moment. We're going to go ahead and bring up the map so you can kind of get an idea where everyone is on the track. So right now, there's not a huge likelihood that we're going to see Dragon's X Ferrari go a lap down anytime soon. He is definitely off the pace, it seems, compared to the majority of the field. But he still has about half-lap advantage over the 4 GTs, and a battle is going on for 4th once again. PM221's got to muscle his way right around Jacob, going through turns 1 and 2. And he's got to get that Viper turned nice and solid on the circuit. Otherwise, Jacob will be able to fight back real quickly. These two have opened a bit of a gap on that train from about 6th to 10th. Jacob is a little bit faster than PM in the straights, it seems, and PM runs a little wide. PM and Jacob made contact. It looked like PM bounced off the tire barrier, made contact with Jacob. The two of them got into it. Now Jacob, he's back up in front, but PM's going to have the lane of choice. He's going to back out of it. He does not want to push it too hard. Now heading down the straightaway, once again, Jacob is the one in 4th. PM is in the position to make a lunge going down into turn 1. Jacob's going to give him the room. PM's going to muscle his way right into there. And they lost a lot of that advantage that he had over 6th and back. Earlier, Jacob was battling with Exculsoro, and it ended up being Exculsoro who fell all the way back to 10th. He's up to 9th now. So Jacob holding on ahead of PM at the moment. Going uphill once again. They're not going to run side by side this time, and neither of them are going to bang off the wall yet. A little farther back in the field, this is the battle for 6th through 9th right now. It's an absolute cluster of cars. See Exculsoro and Rock fighting back there for 8th and 9th, and Exculsoro is going to get sideways. The bearded guy has worked his way into 6th in that Matt Wood finish right now. Exculsoro getting really aggressive against Yunvan. He does not seem to be happy with that Chevy GT being parked right in front of him. And as they keep battling, Kazu Belli back there in 10th is going to end up closing in just a bit. Yunvan's caught the bearded guy. Is he going to be able to get around him? We're here at the top of the hill and now going to run downward into the final corner. And Skolstro is going to try and make a late lunge on Yunvan, backs out at the last moment, and the bearded guy runs off circuit just a bit. That's going to let Yunvan move ahead, but he's able to save that car before Skolstro gets ahead of him, and now the bearded guy wants to see if he can get back by Yunvan. But no, Skolstro is going to end up battling with him. It's going to be a drag race down the straightaway here, and the bearded guy is going to get back in front of Skolstro. So Skolstro's attempts to try and get back up to about 4th position are not turning out very well. The gap between 3rd and 4th is still a massive 12 seconds. Rock is going to slide a little bit wide farther back there. A little farther up. Looking back to this battle for 4th and 5th here. PM221 goes back on the inside of Jacob. They're going to be neck and neck as they head down to the left-hand corner. So Jacob's got the line of choice. He's going to use that to get in front. PM221 there. And while there's that massive battle of amounts 4 cars behind them, as these two drivers continue to battle, you can see if those 4 back there can get their stuff in a line, they may be able to catch up to Jacob and PM here. We're now about a 5th of the way through today's event.
And this is very surprising. Ferrari boss is really pulling away from his teammate in Foxxy.
I have to wonder if it's just he has that confidence knowing in qualifying he was just so close to getting the pole. I think just knowing for a fact he has a good car under him is helping him bring out the extra little bit of performance he needs here.
That car, let me tell you, I don't know what he did to that car, but whatever he did, it's working for him.
The gap that Ferrari boss currently holds over his teammate Ludicrous Speed is currently standing at 5.4 seconds. Ludicrous Speed, though, yeah?
So would you think that, okay, the type of person Ludicrous Speed is, I know you know him, so do you think this is like the time where you would try to block off Foxxy Gaming as much as you possibly can for your teammate, or do you try to just push forward and then pass your teammate just to try to get the extra win?
I have a feeling that Ludacris knows that this is just a preseason race. This track isn't really on the actual points paying schedule at all, and he's just using this to collect data, try to understand what he needs to do when he goes up against other drivers. So for right now, he's going up against Foxxy, and after Foxxy has won, Bathurst and Catalunya, everyone's pegging him as being one of the big title contenders. So right now, I think Ludicrous Speed is going out of his way not to only get data on himself and his car, but also try to figure out what he needs to do to combat this potential championship rival as they round turn 1 here. I don't think he's going to really worry about trying to win this
Foxxy Gaming is trying to make a move on Ludicrous Speed, but that turning, that cornering, caution is out.
And all right, and we're getting word that due to controller issues, the yellow flag is being flown.
Now, Insane, do you think this has any factor or anything, or do you think Ferrari boss just thinks he has it?
Also, another thing to notice about this track, because it's so small and the speed is so consistent around this entire circuit, between about 60 to 100 miles an hour through the majority of it, everyone's...
So, Insane, do you think hitting here would be some type of strategy, or do you think you should just keep going?
I honestly would say just go ahead, keep going. I'm going to go ahead and look at the damage for the tires for our leader. Ferrari Boss, he's currently at 44% tire wear in the front, 22s in the rear. Now, as we know, those Ford GTs, they have some of the best gripping tires in the series. Let's go ahead and look at Foxxy Gaming, who's third. His front tires are about 40-45%. I think this would be a terrible time to pit, honestly. Personally, I would wait until about between like lap 40 and 50. Try to split the race right in the middle with a single stop, even if it means I'm on very bad tires between like lap 35 and 40 and for like the last 5-10 laps. I'd rather only have to worry about doing a single stop, lose as little time as possible on the circuit. If I pit now, that means more than likely I'm going to have to pit again with about 20 to 30 laps to go, and in that scenario I'm probably going to end up being dropped in the middle, if not the very back of the pack. But I'm curious, what would your mindset be though?
I do have the same mindset as you. I would try to go as long as the tires will take me, and I know some of these guys have a good idea of what lap they want to pit on. But like you said, the longer you can go without pitting, the better off you'll be at the very end, because, like you said, you're going to have to pit at the end, and that will mess up your race if you do have to pit twice.
The big thing for here, kind of like at Bathurst, but even more so, is tire wear. Right now, the fuel is only about a third of the way gone for the majority of the drivers on track. It's going to just be tires and controlling them that's going to be an issue. It seems like Kyle Zubelli and Jacob Variable both have a lot more tire wear on their front tires than the majority of the field. Everyone else seems to be around 40 to 45% wear. Oh, Yun Von also is in the 50s with his front tires. So as we continue to cycle under the yellow flag here,
I believe we are waiting on U.Y. Skewton. I think that's how you say it. My apologies if I got that wrong. Skewton.
Yeah.
But I'm very
dropped
surprised.
off pace shortly after.
I'm surprised from what Foxxy showed last race. These GTs are really holding them off.
It seems like not only are they holding them off, I'm also seeing Foxxy make a lot more mistakes than he may be used to. Everyone knows this is a very downforce sensitive, mechanical grip sensitive circuit. I have to wonder if maybe he doesn't have the downforce and mechanical grip necessary in that Mercedes to run comfortably with the other drivers here. It looks like Yuskutian has now caught up to the back of the field here. So it's more than likely I can see them trying to go green this lap. So 2 Ford GTs is going to lead the Mercedes-Benz, a Chevy, and a Viper. That will be our top 5 here at Lime Rock, because we'll go green on lap 26. Realistically, lap 25, because the first lap was a pace lap, but it's 26 by the counters. And Jacob is going to make an early move on Foxxy. He's going to make an early move on Ludicrous Speed. But it looks like Ludicrous Speed is going to hold on. So 2 Ford GTs will hold on to those top 2 positions, as Jacob is going to try and have to go back to where he was before, hold off PM, while at the same time, and Ludicrous Speed is going to overtake our Ferrari Boss. So we now have a third here. And Ferrari Boss goes off to the track, and he's going to spin right in front of the entire field. I think everyone was able to get by without too much damage. I might have seen Yun Von get clipped a little bit. Jacob is working hard on Foxxy, because that happened right in front of Foxxy. He had to back out just a bit to make sure he didn't run into him, and it let Jacob close right into him. So as they're under the straightaway, Jacob runs wide. He ends up in the dirt. Now Skolstro has completed his quest back into the top 4. He's going to go for 3rd position, as he's going to overtake Jacob down into turn number 1.
Ferrari Boss is going to have some work to do if he wants to get back into this race.
Well, we know he has the car to do it when it comes to running all by himself, but he's going to have to cut his way through the entire field. Now, Skolstro was able to do it, but I think most of those spots he gained was because of that chaos with Ferrari Boss wrecking out of 2nd place. Excuse me. On the top of the hill, Foxxy Gaming is putting immense pressure on the defending champion. Ford GT versus Mercedes here as they're going to come down out of the final corner onto the straightaway here. And Excosro and Jacob are going to continue going at it back there in the third position. This battle for third is really, really hot right now. And now PM221 is there also. He wants a piece of this. Jacob, he joined about a third of the way into last series, ended up winning 3 races despite that. And everybody almost uniformly said that he could have been a championship contender if he had just started at the beginning of the season. Jacob is definitely saying, hey, I'm definitely going to, those promises are definitely holding true. He's being very, very solid here today. He's holding off Excosro, who had, I believe, 4 starts last season. Oh, and Excosro was able to capitalize as Jacob runs wide, again coming out of that final corner. PM221 is going to push Excosro through. There's the 2 Vipers gaining up on the Chevy GT. Jacob gets pushed wide, but Excosro goes wide also through turn 1. He's going to shut the door in front of PM221. That forces PM to slide wide. Jacob's going to look to the outside, going through that left-hand corner. They're still going to be neck and neck, but Jacob is going to have what it takes to put his car back in front of PM221. And now they're going to head on down to the hill once again. Meanwhile, back at the front, Foxxy Gaming is now beginning to drop off of Ludicrous Speed's pace here just a bit. As they come out of the Sam Posey straight and into turn 1 once again. That battling between Jacob and PM has allowed Excosro to really pull out a little bit of a gap there in third as we continue to watch this battle. Now Yunvan is catching up. Dragon's X Ferrari runs wide while trying to go up against Yunvan there. So PM and Jacob are going to go side by side, neck and neck, up the hill. Both of them were able to stay out of it. Yunvan's going to come in. Yunvan's going to make it 3 wide up the middle. And they're all going to save it. And Yunvan isn't only going to go 3 wide. He might be able to hold on and take 4th position. They're still side by side with Jacob. PM to run. Runs extremely wide. And PM is going to fall all the way back to, it looks like 7th position. He's going to come under threat from Dragon's X Ferrari, so make that 8th position now. Yunvan is going to get a little bit of tire smoke spit out there in front of Rockmaru, who's now worked his way into 6th. Rock is going to try and work on Yunvan now. And PM221 is going to get back by Dragon's X Ferrari back there for the 7th position.
Who knew you could go 3 wide at Lime Rock?
Yeah, tell me, this is easily one of the narrowest tracks on the circuit, and somehow Yunvan, he wasn't only able to make it go 3 wide, he was able to overtake both of those cars from the middle. It took him several corners, yes, but he made it work. And now Rockmaru is going to be a driver who slides off right. Rockmaru is going to slide off. He's still into the wall. He's going to drop all the way back to 8th position. 9th now as the Beard guy is going to get by him. He's going to make a little bit of contact with the Beard guy, and both of them are going to run wide. But it looks like they're going to continue without too much of an issue right now.
Skewatan, I believe, is off the road.
Yeah, it looks like he's pulling over just to ensure that he's not going to interfere with any battles right now.
But Yunvan has really got the push on Jacob right now. The pressure. Oh,
something's happened to Ludicrous Speed. Something has happened to Ludicrous Speed because Foxxy Gaming has now taken over.
Caution is out.
Where's Ludicrous Speed on the track? And Ludicrous Speed is stuck at the bottom of the hill. He's going again. I wonder if he may have wrecked his car heading into the hill trying to hold off Foxxy. He was leading earlier, but now Foxxy Gaming has overtaken both of those Ford GTs by the looks of it due to just pure driver error. As we're now a third of the way through the event, and we're getting word that safety car has been deployed, so the entire field is going to have to bunch up behind Foxxy.
And Ferrari Boss is starting to make his way up a little bit.
Maybe the safety car wasn't deployed.
It was. I don't know why they're still racing, but from the officials, they had said that safety car was called. Unless that was waved off.
No, because I can see, excuse me, I can see second place Exculstro closing up on Foxxy here. So Mercedes-Benz is once again going to be leading here in the preseason events for the IESC GT series. One big thing about safety, about the yellow flags, not really a safety car here because we don't have one, but under the yellow here at Lime Rock, as we said earlier, as I was trying to say earlier, you spend so much of this track at one consistent speed between about 60 to 80 miles an 60 to 100 miles an hour, that even when the leader reduces their speed down to pace speed, 60 miles an hour, it's still going to take a long time for the entire field to properly bunch up. Simply because, like, a lap under yellow is not that much different time-wise than a lap under green. So, Ludicrous Speed, who was our leader, is now going to be 11th position. DragonsX Ferrari, who's just had a bunch of small off-track excursions throughout the event, he's going to go back to 10th. Ferrari Boss has worked his way up to 9th after sliding off on that prior restart. 8th is going to be Kazubelli in that BMW. 7th is going to be that bearded guy, or the bearded guy. 6th is going to be Rock Morrow. Rock, who's kind of hung out in that position most of the event. 5th is going to be Yunvan, who's probably been who's easily been the most aggressive driver of the day, pulling off a 3-wide overtake. Then 4th is going to be PM221 here. 3rd is going to be Jacob in that Chevy GT. 2nd is going to be Exculero in that Viper, that BWT Viper. And then our leader is going to be the man, the myth, the legend, Foxxy Gaming HD.
And would you say we're about a quarter of the way through the race, or just above it?
We're about 3/8 of the way through the race right now, as far as if I'm calculating correctly. So a little bit more than a third of the way through the event. Honestly, I think if you're really confident with your tire wear, pitting now might not be a bad option. But if everyone else ahead of you pits, stay out.
And we're pitting.
So we see our leader, Foxxy Gaming, is pitting. So is anyone going to not pit, though? That's the question. There's a little bit of a gaggle and mix-up on pit lane. I saw several drivers getting into it with each other. So did anyone not pit? That's the question. Now, it looks like the entire field pitted.
One car didn't. That was
that a lap car?
Scutian, I believe
yeah,
so.
He was already a lap down.
Youngvon makes
after
out.
We come out
first. Oh, never mind.
No, Foxxy Gaming is out of the pits first. Then Exculstro is out second, so he's got top 3 are going to maintain their spots. But the bearded guy ends up getting lucky. He's going to move all the way up to 4. No, he's going to drop back to 7th.
I believe that's probably how I believe that's how they probably went into the pits, as how they came out.
Well, no, because Ferrari Boss was behind Kazubelli, but now he's ahead of him. Unless they're going to swap positions here. No, they're not swapping positions back there. So I think, I'm going to guess maybe the bearded guy might have I don't know. It looked like the bearded guy was supposed to come out 4th, but went back to 7th, so. But everyone else besides that seems to be about the same. So now everyone's pitted, everyone's going to get this lap to warm up the tires. We'll see if they're going to go green this lap.
And we're green.
And yes, they are underway. Jacob's going to look to the outside of Exculstro's. Foxxy Gaming is going to pinch down that inside line. And Jacob and Exculsoro are battling once again for that second position. They need to get that settled fast if either of them are going to want to try and get by Foxxy. The other two drivers who are significantly faster than this group have already made their mistakes, gotten to the back. And there's a massive gaggle back there. We're about 7th on back right now. The Beard Guy and Rock Morrow are having a major duel as they go up the hill. The Beard Guy nearly gets into the tire barrier. He's going to make contact several times with Rock Morrow. And Ferrari Boss is going to overtake them all. And all three of them, Rock Morrow, Beard Guy, and Ferrari Boss, all go off circuit at the same time. The Ferrari Boss saw the same move that Yunvan pulled earlier, trying to go 3 wide through there. But he tried doing that at the last minute. Lucas Speed is off track. He's into the wall back there. Coming out of the final corner, he's underway once again. No caution as far as we can tell, despite 2 massive, significant incidents right there on the restart. So they're still underway here, and Foxxy Gaming is beginning to pull away. PM221 gets his tires on the dirt. He's going to slide back just a little bit. Jacob has pulled away from Kane by just a third of a car length. Does he have enough to get away from Exculsoro and also run down Foxxy? The gap between first and second is about 1.1 seconds right now. Jacob's not really in a position to attack the circuit, though, because he's got Exculsoro really attacking him right now.
The pack is kind of clumped up in different parts. It's not like it was at the beginning of the race where it was from 4th to 10th was all clumped up together, and 1st and to 3rd was all pulling away. Now it's just all... This race is anybody's race, really, at this point.
Well, anyone's race if Foxxy makes a mistake, because it seems like right now Foxxy is one of, if not the fastest driver on the circuit right now. Kazubelli is there behind Dragos Ferrari looking to see if maybe he can get that BMW ahead of that Viper.
You think... I think what Foxxy cracks under is whenever he's being pushed and he has pressure against him. I think that's what these drivers are going to have to do to have Foxxy make a mistake and be able to have any chance to pass him.
Well, we're not really seeing that right now because our second place driver, GTRC Jacob, he's too busy trying to hold off Exculsoro and PM221. He can't put any pressure on Foxxy. That gap has opened up to about 2.1 seconds now. We saw those 4 GTs put a lot of pressure on him, and Foxxy actually had a brief off-track excursion and fell all the way back to 3rd. We know he can make mistakes, and Jacob is going to have to go defend the inside against Exculsoro as they head down at the end of the Samposi Straight.
And do remember, these drivers will have to pit again.
I'm not so sure about that. I think if they're just careful with their tires, we've run enough laps under yellow, they might be able to stretch the tires that they got prior to the end of this event. Now, granted, if you're in the back of the field and you're having trouble making your way up, go ahead and pit. Yunvan slides off circuit back there in the 5th position. But I honestly think what they have now, they might be able to push to the end if they're careful. Now, granted, Jacob, we saw he was already burning through his tires real badly in the first stint. And if he keeps running like he is right now against Exculsoro and PM221, he'll probably need to pit a second time. But I think the majority of the remaining drivers will be able to make it. Also, credit to where credit's due. Ferrari Boss, despite having taken himself and 2 other drivers off circuit on that restart, he's worked his way now back up to 7th. And he's actually closing really rapidly now on Dragos X Ferrari. So he definitely has one of the faster, if not the fastest car. Probably, right now, he's probably the one driver who can go right up against Foxxy. Yes, he's stuck in the middle of the pack trying to work his way up as fast as he can. And yeah, there's 96 laps in this event, but we're already at lap 42, just shy of the halfway point. Yeah, actually, we're going to be starting the halfway point of the race now. It's lap 43, so we're about halfway through this event now. He's going to need Dragon's Ferrari and Yunvan up ahead of him to really get into a battle between the two of them, but not so much to where Ferrari Boss can't get through. He tried that 3 wide stuff that Yunvan did earlier. It did not work out quite as well. And actually, Ferrari Boss has apparently put down the fastest lap of the race of 49.172, while Foxxy's fastest lap is a 49.3. So yes, Ferrari Boss has caught Draggers and Yunvan, but he's not been able to make a move yet, as Draggers is parking his car basically on just about every apex possible. Ferrari Boss makes a look to the inside going into 1, but there's no room there. And he did it there. Dragon's X Ferrari ran a little wide going through that left-hand corner. And that's where Ferrari Boss made the move. Dragon's X Ferrari is going to come back. He made the crossover work. Very, very smooth move on Dragon's X Ferrari's part. But as these two are battling, they're letting Yunvan pull away just a little bit.
Ferrari Boss is gaining some ground, and there is enough laps left to catch up to Foxxy if he can.
Yeah,
if he's able to work with the other drivers.
I think Ferrari is going to have to get to a 4th or 5th position and then have a yellow flag come out if he really wants a chance at Foxxy. I don't think he'll be able to get it on just pure pace alone, simply because these drivers around him, yes, he's faster than them, but he's not fast enough that he's able to get by and pull away. We saw Ferrari Boss able to get ahead of Draggers just a lap ago, right through this section here. And it wasn't enough because Drag was able to come right back before Ferrari Boss could get back on the racing line. He needs the drivers up ahead of him to make mistakes. Dragon's X Ferrari actually slides through the dirt with his rear tires just a bit there. Someone in the wall?
I can check the map. Yes, I believe so. There is somebody on the map that is not moving at this time.
Is that Scutin?
That's Scutin.
UI Scutin? Yes, it is.
Scutin.
He is back underway, running back there in the 12th position. Meanwhile, back up front, Foxxy Gaming has now opened up a 6-second gap on second, and it looks like PM220 has now finally gotten ahead of Jacob. Oh, and Ferrari Boss goes off circuit farther back there. Oh, and PM221 is in the wall right in front of Jacob. PM221, Jacob spin in front of Exculstro. Exculstro's going to get by them both. And no, Exculstro's going to get involved also. PM221's going to drop rapidly through the field. It's back to 6th. 7th now, Ferrari Boss is going to get by him. Everyone is in a complete mess up at the front. Our 2nd and 3rd place drivers got into each other going up the hill, and now it's just an absolute clusterfuck from about 2nd to 7th right now. Exculstro's there, Yunvan's there, Dragon's X Ferrari is there, Jacob's there, Ferrari Boss is there, PM221's there. Exculstro might have made out of there the best. He looks like he had the least amount of issues through that all. Yunvan and Jacob and Dragon's X Ferrari, they're all going to go almost 3 wide going up the hill there. And Dragon's X Ferrari gets turned by Jacob! Jacob turns Dragon's X Ferrari! No one else gets involved for the moment. Yunvan's going to go to the outside of Jacob. Yunvan goes into the wall. He's got to bounce off the wall. He's got to slide off the circuit. And now Ferrari Boss is going to go up against Jacob. I said earlier, he needs stuff to happen to get Ferrari Boss up to a position where he can be competitive. Stuff has happened, and Ferrari Boss is now in 4th position, and he has to get by Jacob as our 2 of our most aggressive drivers, Dragon's X Ferrari and Yunvan, have just gone wrecked pretty much on the same lap. And we are getting word that the incidents on track have been enough to bring out a yellow flag, so we expect the field to bunch up real soon. So if nothing goes wrong on the restart for Ferrari Boss, if he does not make a mistake, this may have been perfect for him to get up there, challenge Foxxy, and perhaps even get in front of him. We know, and he knows, that he is the fastest car on the circuit right now. He just needs to not make the mistakes that he made earlier. Skullstro is going to close back in on Foxxy. Jacob's going to close back in on Foxxy. So it seems like we have plenty of really competitive battles, but the 4 GTs and that Mercedes-Benz of Foxxy is on a class all on their own here at Lime Rock. Also, speaking of which, the disappointing part for the 4 GT camp, despite all that chaos, Ludicrous Speed, who was our leader earlier, he's still 11th. He was not able to gain any spots during that stint. He's still in the back of the field.
But Ferrari Boss is in that position where you said 4th place, and we have a yellow. So he's in the exact same scenario you brought up about a few laps ago.
So, is anyone going to pit? That's basically the question of the day. Who is going to pit? Who's not going to pit? It doesn't seem like anyone's going to pit this time around. And the entire field's caught up. We're starting lap 50 here, so I imagine next lap they're probably going to try and go green. So we're about 5/9 of the way through this race here today. So thus far, TJ, go ahead, share your thoughts. Who would you pick if you could only pick one driver to win right now, based on what we've seen? Who would you have to pick?
To be honest, I would like to see Ferrari Boss win this. He's had the car all day. He's been able to work himself up from just about last place all the way up back to 4th. And only just about 20 or so laps. That may seem like a lot, but there still is about 36 to, I think, 60, 70, 80, 46
There's
laps to go.
46 laps left.
So he does have a big contending win here. As long as they can put the pressure down, I have to see we have some cars off track, but as long as they can put the pressure down on Foxxy, I believe that he should be able to take 1st place or get top 3. But I do love how this race is going right now.
And we're getting word that they may be throwing the red flag here.
So as I was saying,
it's fine.
I've been loving the racing here, though. Just Lime Rock, we both know, small track, very, very slim to get around the corners, and it might be difficult for some to pass. But we have seen some really good racing, some unfortunate crashes for some people, just like Ludicrous Speed, which is all the way in 11th place, which he also has a very good car of getting top 5, maybe top 3. But that's just unfortunate for him. And just when we saw those cars go 3 wide, you can just see the competitiveness in some of these drivers just to try to get up in that top 3 position or just try to get the win.
I'm going to go ahead and say that if I could choose one driver who I think is most likely to win this, I'm going to have to go with Foxxy. He's won the prior 2 preseason events. He seems, I wouldn't say he's unbeatable, but he seems to be pretty damn close to it. Now, obviously, he's shown some weakness against the 4 GTs, but his mistakes haven't been quite on the monumental level that those by Ludicrous Speed and Ferrari Boss have been thus far. And we see Scutian trying to run around to get his laps back right now.
I do see where you're coming from, though. Foxxy Gaming wins 2 preseason races and bleeds almost about 80% of the laps that we've done so far. But I'm just saying, though, it's like we don't really know his weaknesses yet because he wasn't in the last season where all these other drivers that we've seen, we know how they
and it seems like GTRC Jacob has dropped out of today's event. We're going to go ahead and see if we can talk to him, seeing what happened that may have brought his race to an end.
That is unfortunate. He was a very good high contending driver today.
All right, so we have GTRC Jacob in the party. Jacob, go ahead, include your audio. Jacob, what happened? What's forced you to drop out of this
Just
event?
getting tired of the bullshit. Just getting tired of the bullshit. Getting hit by a lap car. He's like 5 or some odd laps down. I don't even know. I don't give a shit anymore. He's not fit to race in this lobby. Don't know how he passed qualification. He hit me off in a fucking pace lap. So yeah, I retaliated. I'm just getting tired of the bullshit. He's almost caused nearly as many cautions in this race than anybody out there, because whenever somebody's about to pass him, he basically almost puts on his brakes, stopping to let them pass in the middle of the goddamn track.
Alright.
I do not even know how. Don't even know how.
Alright, beyond that, out of curiosity, what was your opinion on the race beyond that, though?
Bullshit. I mean, it was fine until that happened, so it's whatever. Just another race that I wasted my time on.
Alright.
I
Well,
shouldn't
there's
have to
your
be the one
words
leaving. Scoot team should be the one leaving, not me. But, you know, it's whatever. We called a caution that didn't need to be called for ludicrous because only 2 people hit the goddamn car. And it's supposed to be a 3-car incident, not a 2-car incident. Plus, that 2 car continued on anyway. Like, he wasn't even involved in it. So, technically, it was a 1-car incident, and we had to call a caution for it. But then we had another incident that had 3 cars, and we didn't call a caution for it. This series is starting to second guess my opinion on, so.
Alright, well, you
With the
hear
officials.
folks some very harsh words from Jacob Variable. Anything else in general to say?
No, that's it. I'm just getting tired of the bullshit, that's all I gotta say.
Alright, well, that's Jacob, rookie sensation last season. A little bit of a jaded driver right now after this event. And it looks like Dragzex Ferrari has had a little bit of an incident farther on back. He was able to save the car. He's back in 5th. So on this restart, it looks like our top 2 got away pretty solidly. PM221 was actually able to leapfrog past Ferrari Boss initially. So it's going to be interesting if Ferrari Boss can get back by that Viper before we get too far into this event. Because the longer and longer this goes on, the wider and wider that gap between first and the rest of the field is going to form.
Well, from that interview, I can tell that after this race, there is going to be some conflict. But back to racing.
So Ferrari Boss has caught PM221, but I'm going to look a little bit farther back in the field right now. Ludicrous Speed has actually been able to make some progress on this restart. He's up to 6. It looks like he's now been able to get by Yunbon, so 4 GTs are finally making some progress. And PM221, farther up the track, he's off the circuit, he's banging off the walls, and he's going to fall all the way back to 7th position. It looks like he got a little bit off circuit, trying to go through that curved sort of straightaway on the run down to the hill. So now PM's going to have to drop all the way to the 8th position despite being 3rd earlier. Not really sure what happened there, if that was a driver incident between him and Ferrari Boss, or if he just overcooked the car. But now Ferrari Boss is running 3rd. And he's got
Ludicrous Speed
pretty
got
clean
up to
track in
5th
front of him.
place.
And he's battling right now against Dragzex Ferrari in 4th. So the 4 GTs are on a resurgence on this restart, although that 4 GT is going to make a little bit of a lawnmower drive to match that lawnmower sound. He's going to get by Draggers, a little bit of physical contact, and Draggers in process is going to end up dropping behind Yunbon. Yunbon is fighting right back against Ludicrous Speed. He wants that 4th position back. And for the 4 GTs, this has got to really piss them off. They're like, come on, man, we're faster than you. We can actually win the race. But 4th, 5th, and 6th are all around top of each other. Ludicrous Speed runs off the circuit just a bit there. It looks like Yunbon did also. Dragzex Ferrari is faster than both of them. Dragons is going to overtake Yunvan. He's going to make a huge dive on Ludicrous Speed on the inside. Ludicrous is being forced to take that outside line, but if he can maintain it, he'll be on the preferred lane of choice going through that left-hand corner. And that's exactly what happens. He's gonna. It looks like he's going to be able to hold on to fourth for the moment over Dragons X Ferrari and Yunvan, who are now swapping positions. Neck and neck as they head up the hill. It looks like neither of them are going to back out that time. No, Yunvan backed out. So Dragons X Ferrari is now going to sit back in the 5th position. So is Ludicrous Speed going to be able to start walking away from these guys? Dragons X Ferrari right there behind Ludicrous. Is he going to try and make another late dive bomb on him? That's exactly what he's going to try and do, but Ludicrous Speed shut the door. Very, very aggressive moves by Draggers right now. Draggers trying to take these corners as late as he can, trying to maximize his straight line speed, but it's also really costing him through the corners, and that in turn is keeping Yunvan right on him. So this 3-car battle for 4th continues. Very, very aggressive right now. Lucas seems to have a little less stability with the car that his teammate Ferrari Boss does right now. Ooh, and Dragon's gonna slide off the circuit, just barely touch the grass there. Wow, he is all over the track looking for any kind of room he can to get by Ludicrous Speed, but I think he really hurt his exiting momentum there. He's not gonna be able to make that late dive on Ludicrous that time by. And we see the lap car of Euskutian is gonna pull off the circuit right there, trying not to directly influence this. Gonna look back ahead. This is for 2nd right now, and Exculsoro is actually, he's not fighting Foxxy Gaming directly, but he is. And Ludicrous Speed has apparently dropped out of the event due to lag incident. We're gonna try and get some word with him to see what has happened, but absolute travesty. And Exculsoro has been able to keep relatively close to Foxxy, not close enough to fight with him, but close enough that he can still see him. So now Ludicrous Speed is going to go ahead. Welcome to the booth, Ludicrous. Go ahead and include your audio. What's your race like?
I have to go back. I have to go back. They want me back over there. My bad, man.
All right. Alright, so he's apparently not able to talk for the moment. We'll see if we can talk to him maybe at the end of the event. And it looks like although Exculsoro is holding on to a potential battle with Foxxy, if Foxxy makes a mistake, he doesn't have the same speed that Ferrari Boss has. As we're seeing these last 3 laps, Ferrari Boss has rapidly closed in on Exculsoro right now. About 36 laps to go here. How fast can Ferrari Boss get by Exculsoro? That's going to be the big question here.
Sorry.
Praise, you gotta go.
Okay.
So Ferrari Boss has now caught Exculsoro going uphill here. That Ford GT definitely has the pace by himself. Is he going to be able to get by Exculsoro without making a potential mistake? If he does, and even if he's able to just get back up to 2nd and isn't really able to directly challenge Foxxy for a lead, and Exculsoro gets into the dirt, it's going to be a hell of a comeback for Ferrari Boss. He basically went all the way back to about 10th after spinning out on a restart, and he's been able to make up pretty much all these spots by pure driver skill. It's not been by... Yes, there's been a little bit of cautions helping to bunch the field up, but when it comes to pure skill, he's definitely been able to make it all come together. The gap between 1st and 2nd's opened up to about 2.9, as Exculsoro can't really focus on lapping the track as fast as he can. He has to hold off that Ford GT.
He's getting swirled. I just have a hard feeling that there's going to be someone spinning here. Ferrari Boss did get loose, though, which did open up a gap between him and Exculsoro.
The gap between third and fourth is about 5.8 seconds, and that's another 2+ seconds between Yunbon in fourth and PM221 in fifth. Sixth is the bearded guy, and he's also running relatively by himself. Seventh place is Rockmaro, again, pretty much by himself. Eighth is Kazubelli. Ninth is Dragon's X Ferrari. And then 10th, although he is multiple laps down, is Scutian. So right now, this little battle for second and third is really the only significant battle that's going on the circuit right now. And just so, we're going to bring up the damage telemetry so we can kind of get a reading on how their tires are. So Ferrari Boss right now, his front tires are about 49 and 45% wear. Second place, Exculstro, his front tires are about 46 and 41% wear. So Exculstro's not burned through those tires quite as fast, but the difference between them isn't that massive either. And Ferrari Boss, he's gotten alongside Exculstro, going through that left-hand corner. Very hard to make an overtake work on the outside through there. But Exculstro, he's cutting the dirt just a little bit with the tires, and it's really hurting his straight line speed, which is the one single advantage I say he really has over that Ford GT. He's going to run wide coming up over the hill there. And you know what? Just for kicks, we're going to go ahead also and look at the current tire wear for our leader, Foxxy Gaming. And Foxxy, he's actually burning through those tires fast. His front tires are between 53, 54, and 47% wear right now. Will do.
I can just invite him back, but it's okay.
So, Foxxy Gaming may be burning through his tires a little bit faster than he really wants to, but he does have a pretty significant gap over second and third, and the longer Exculstro can hold Ferrari Boss behind him, the better and better Foxy's chances of winning here at Lime Rock is, assuming we don't get another yellow flag. Once again, we're at the top of the hill. Ferrari Boss is going to look to the inside of Exculstro here. It looks like he's going to make it side by side through turn one now.
He made the move. He got past him.
He's made the move. But is he going to be able to hold by, or is Exculstro going to fight back? We see those rear tires on that Viper skidding just a little bit. "31 laps to go. Now it looks like Exculstro is starting to lose Ferrari Boss just a little bit. Ferrari Boss, he was so close to getting pole, just about a half of a tenth of a second off. He started second on the start of the race. He immediately jumped into the lead, led about the first 20 laps, and now he's pitting. Exculstro is going to take over second, and it's as Ferrari Boss is pitted here, and he's not the only one. Yunbon pits also. He's actually going to get hit by Yunbon on the pits, in the pit lane. So I wonder if this is a strategy. Does he think that he needs fresh tires to go up against our leader? Looking back at Foxxy Gaming, he's not pitted yet, so now I gotta wonder who is or is not going to pit. Is Foxxy Gaming going to try and make these tires last to the end? His front tires are between 60 and 53% wear right now. If he pits again, that's going to put him right in the firing range of Ferrari Boss, assumingly, considering that Ferrari Boss has put down laps consistently faster than him. And then Exculstro, he has yet to pit also, and Exculstro's front tires, he's between 55 and about 49% there. Third is PM221, and his front tires are both 57 to 61%, so he's more than likely going to have to pit. You know, TJ, I'm going to go ahead. I know earlier I said I thought the drivers would be able to make it to the end without needing to stop again. I think I'm wrong. I think almost everyone is going to have to stop again, because I'm looking down here at the tire wear most of these drivers have. It's very significant, and now I'm starting to wonder if these guys would be able to push another 25, 30 laps with this current set they have.
Do you think that Yes, Foxy is winning the pits as well as Exol. I still don't know his name. I apologize. Exolcero.
Okay, so here's the question. Are they going to be in the pits long enough? So Foxy's going to rejoin. He's rejoined in second as PM221 has yet to pit. So Foxy's going to have cleaner tires and fresher tires than Ferrari Boss. Not to mention that Ferrari Boss still has to work his way back through the field. So we're going to go ahead and pull up the map so we can get an idea. So on screen right now, we're following Foxxy Gaming. And in 7th position, 8th, where's... So Ferrari Boss has already worked his way up to 3rd. He's about a straightaway behind Foxy right now. And PM221 has just pitted. Okay, so Foxy has now inherited the lead. And Ferrari Boss has now inherited second, I believe, right? Yes, so Ferrari Boss has now inherited second. So, who is in front of... So it's UI Scutian right now, who is 10th on the circuit, and he'll be the next driver that Foxy Gaming encounters. So I believe most of the field at this point has pitted. Let's see here.
Believe
pit.
so.
Has Dragger X Ferrari in 4th pitted?
I can check.
Yes, Draggers has pitted. Oh, what happened? Did someone lag out? What's going on?
I don't know. I'm having some technical difficulties. We can check after this. Yes!
Scutian has lagged out of the event. So Scutian has now dropped out of this event here. So now we're going to go back. Can Ferrari Boss charge up and overtake Foxy Gaming?
He is
Ferrari Boss
gaining ground.
continues to have set down the fastest lap. Yep, he is. Oh, he goes through the dirt
got
there.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. The gap right now between first and second is about 2.5 seconds. The gap between basically everyone else still on the circuit is around 1.5 seconds or more. But this is the gap that if Ferrari Boss continues at the pace he is, more than likely will close down the fastest.
And the only
The field's nice and
disadvantage
spread out now.
The only disadvantage that Ferrari Boss has is he pitted at least 3 or 4 laps before Foxy Gaming and the rest of the pack did. So he's kind of got some more worn tires, but do you think that really has any effect on him? Because you know, some drivers more so like to warm up the tires or get kind of worn tires, and that's when they're really good. Where Foxy could have really new tires, and he might not be as fast as he would as, like, half-worn tires.
I'm not so sure that would be an issue as much as it would be that when Ferrari Boss pitted, he came back out onto the circuit in the middle of traffic and had to contend with traffic for about another 2 laps, which would have slowed his overall lap times. And that, again, that's assuming that Ferrari Boss can keep up the pace that he's been running. And no, he's not! Ferrari Boss is going to spin off in the final corner. He's going to lose a lot of time through that. He drops to 6 seconds, 6.5 seconds now. Excolstro is going to come running up soon. And we only have about 24 laps left in this race. That might have done it. That might have killed it. And Foxy Gaming has just put down the fastest lap of the event. 49, almost a 49 flat. So it looks like Foxy Gaming may have just turned up the wick to keep Ferrari Boss from going up against him. Ferrari Boss cannot afford to make that kind of mistake again. Looking at his front tires are between 13 and 14% wear, while leader, Foxy Gaming's front tires are between 9 and 10%, 9 and 11% wear. The gap is 7 seconds. And then here is Excolstro, who's running in 3rd right now. I have to think that that little hiccup that Ferrari Boss made, it might have been enough to ruin his race, assuming that Foxy doesn't make a mistake of his own.
You do have a point, but if another caution does come out, that's going to be a huge factor to the end of this race.
But I'm not so sure we're going to see another caution
The only
because
thing I
our
really
field
see
is
us having
very spread
anything-
out right now.
Young Vaughn and PM
Young Vaughn and-
221 are really the only two people or contenders that are like close enough to actually cause a caution, but I don't really see that happening.
Following this little battle for the 5th place right now, Foxxy has now gone back to saying about 49.3 second laps, and Ferrari Boss holding steady at about 7 seconds behind. It'll be interesting to see if he can close that gap, but 7 seconds. So we have, let's say we have 20 laps to go. We're going to calculate from 20 laps. It's 22 laps to go. Let's calculate from 20 laps. Well, let's calculate from 21 laps. So if there's 21 laps left and he's 7 seconds out, he would need to gain a full second on our leader every 3 laps just to catch him by the end. Oh, and PM221 gets sideways coming up the hill. That's going to let Young Vaughn catch right up. I know that Ferrari Boss is fast, but can he knock off 3 to 4 tenths a second consistently, lap in, lap out? That's the question.
You know, that's really just a huge factor of his mindset and how the car is performing at this moment. And I think it's really just a factor of, I think he's just got either caution going through his mind or Foxxy messing up at this point.
Yeah, I have to think that little mistake that he made probably has ended his day and his chance at winning the event. But even despite that, assuming that nothing happens that puts him in a position to directly challenge Foxxy, like absolutely stunning, solid job on his part. He was able to, he started second, was able to jump Foxxy, not only jump him, but outright outpace him for about the first 20 laps, got wrecked on a restart, and now Foxxy Gaming is actually starting to drop off pace just a little bit. I think he might be trying to conserve his tires. But, and then Ferrari Boss got wrecked, basically went to the back of the field, and he's been able to, by his own hands, been able to make up every single spot on the track back to the 2nd position. And while his teammate Lucas Speed ended up dropping out, it looks like the 4GTs have definitely been very well represented here today. Hey, wait, real quick question. The gap between 1st and 2nd was 7 seconds, right?
Yes, it was. He is
Why
closing
is
on him.
on my screen it says 3 seconds? Did Foxxy make a mistake that we mixed?
I have no clue, but he has gained a lot of time on him.
Well, we're now at 19 laps to go, and there's about 2.8 second gap between 1st and 2nd. So let's just assume we have 16 laps. And it's let's just say 2.5 seconds. 16 laps or 2.5 seconds. Now I'll say 15 laps or 2.5 seconds just in case. So 15 laps, 2.5 seconds. That would be half a second. He needs to make up about a half second every 3 laps now, just to hold even with Foxxy at the end. That's not overtaking him. That's not going to assume he can overtake him and even get ahead of him. That's just assuming he can pull even with him. So he needs to, if he can get half a second every 3 laps, even that rate is kind of iffy. And again, even if he catches, and Ferrari Boss goes off circuit once again, not as significantly. No, you've not missed anything. But I don't know. I see Ferrari Boss making these little small mistakes that are kind of dropping him off just a bit. And every now and then, like, I see Foxxy put down like one real fast killer lap. I still don't think it's enough. I think Foxxy needs to make another significant mistake. And now Ferrari has dropped to 3.4 seconds back. It seems very likely that he's not going to be able to get it. Going to look back at this battle for 5th and 6th now between Young Vaughn and PM. Chevy versus Viper. as far as we can tell, there's no other real significant battle, like outright battle going on the circuit. Yes, there is the whole thing of can Ferrari boss catch Foxxy, which seems a little bit less and less likely as this race is winding down to its close here. Foxxy Gaming has just put down the fastest lap once again, 48.991 seconds. So we're now sub 49-second laps here. And it seems like PM is actually starting to pull away from Yunvan just a bit as well. As that gap is now open to about 0.9 of a second, just before braking at the end of the Samposi straight. As we bring up the map, you can kind of get a view of where everyone is on the circuit. We're going to go ahead, at least on my screen, we're going to ride with our second place driver, Ferrari Boss, for a good lap. Lap and a half, so you can get another good idea on what it's like riding at Lime Rock here.
That gap between first and second is getting a lot larger than before. And it's just the pack is really split up right now, so there's not really a lot of action going. So just kind of just paying attention to the front pack. The only close battle I believe we have is between Rockmaro and Casus Belly 14. Oh, and PM.
Oh, there's still the battle between, yeah. Gonna look back at that battle for 8th and 9th right now. More of a stalking situation right now. Rock seeing if he can run down Kazu, Belly. But looking back, gonna ride on board with Yunvan for a little bit. See if he can do anything with PM. We'll see every now and then PM will stretch out a little bit of a gap on Yunvan, and then he'll make a mistake or just not take a corner as smoothly as Yunvan has, and Yunvan will close right back in. Von's a lot more consistent, but PM seems to be faster, have faster individual laps. And Foxxy has really turned up the wick. I've been watching his lap times, and the times he's running now are comparable to the times that Ferrari Boss was running back when he was leading the first part of the section. So right now it seems like Foxxy, he's kind of throwing caution to the wind, and he's just trying to go all-out attack, trying to push that gap open between first and second as much as he can, and hope that it gets to the point where second place Ferrari Boss just really can't fight back at all.
Exactly. There's just not a lot of action going on during this race, but Ferrari Boss is sideways. And off the track he goes. Exulsero off the track as well.
Is sideways farther back also. So it seems like the pressure has gotten to Ferrari Boss's head as he continues to just make a bunch of mistakes that have significantly harmed his chance. And now that he drops more than 10 seconds out of the lead, barring a yellow flag, which is unlikely considering how spread out the field is, this race, for the lead at least, seems to be over. As we now go once again focus on this little battle for 5th and 6th.
Now, do you think lapping the two last cars and 9th and 8th You think Foxy lapping those two cars would have a big factor and just lock up the victory from the second and third trying to pass him if they could get to him?
Looking at right now, Rock is going under braking now, and Foxy has gone past the start finish line now. And there's about 10 laps left in the event. Let me see what we're gonna change it to something on the ticker real quickly, so we can get an idea on what everyone's times are. Lap times. So going by lap times, Rockmar is saying 51.483, Foxy 49.256. So right now, Foxy, he's about 2 seconds a lap faster than Rock, assuming that they continue at the pace they are. And with the way Foxy's really turning up the wick right now, I don't see that changing.
And we do have just above 10 laps to go.
Yeah, it's 11 laps to go as the leaders go. 10 laps to go right now as the leader's just gone by the start-finish line. I could see Foxy coming up close to Rockmaro and then backing off just a bit. He probably wouldn't want to get caught up in an incident if Rockmaro wrecks in front of him, which Rockmaro has just kind of slid off the track there. That will cause him to lose a little bit more time. He's going to go back to the normal time intervals. Foxy has just put down another 49 sub 50 second lap, 49.6. So Foxy seems to be letting up just a little bit, but that massive gap between first and second, which is, I believe it's like 12 seconds at this point, it's basically ensured that Foxy has this locked up. Assuming nothing goes wrong, it's 10.3 seconds between first and second. Foxy basically has this wrapped up unless he suddenly starts hemorrhaging over a second a lap. Gonna go back real quickly and look at the battle between 5th and 6th as PM has slid off the circuit in 5th, but he has opened up a little bit of a gap on Yunbon here. Now Yunbon takes his time to go off circuit just a bit, but not nearly as bad as PM, and he's closed in. Every other gap on the circuit is about 1.5 seconds or greater.
We have a car.
So this right now
has went off track. So that means Rockmaro is lapped at the moment.
Alright, so with Rockmaro now having gone a lap down, that basically assures that unless he pulls over for... Well, no, it's really no point talking about it. Ferrari boss can't close it in 10 seconds. Even though he's been putting down fast laps, Foxy somehow has gotten that Mercedes-Benz dialed in with this newest set of tires. And he's putting down lap times significantly faster than, at this point, they're significantly faster than anyone else has. Because when it comes to overall consistency.
I agree with you 100%.
And this battle between PM and Yunbon has now turned more into a stalking match to see if PM will make a mistake and then if Yunbon can even capitalize in the event of a mistake. But let's go ahead. So from the front, our leader is a Mercedes-Benz. Second place, Ferrari Boss, that's a Ford GT. Third place, Excostro, that's a Viper. Fourth place, Dragons X Ferrari, another Viper. Fifth place, PM221, another Viper. Sixth is Yunbon, which is the highest running Chevy, considering that Chevy is usually like one of, if not the strongest manufacturers in this series. That's kind of shocking to not see one in the top 5. Seventh, which is bearded guy here. He's running a BMW. Eighth, Kazubeli, who is also running a BMW. Then ninth, Rockmaro, and
a little bit.
And that's Viper also, I believe.
Just
PM, it
trying to
looks
get
like he
dialed
might be
in.
burning those rear tires off right now. Still, he has enough of a gap over our leaders. Let's go ahead, just in case this might turn into an issue here as we run through these final laps. As our leader comes by the line, it's going to be 5 laps to go as Foxxy Gaming goes by the line here. Just look at tires. So Foxxy's front tires are between 46 and 53% wear. Second place Ferrari Boss, his front tires 49 and 54% wear. So even though Ferrari Boss pitted about 3 to 4 laps earlier than Foxxy, their tire wear is pretty comparable. If not, Ferrari Boss has slightly better wear overall. It's just not really enough for him to be able to do anything about it. Third place is Exculsoro. His front tires are between 43 and 49%. He was one of the last drivers to pit. Dragx Ferrari, he's back there in 4th. 62 and 71% chance. He'll probably be able to make it to the end, but he's going to have to kind of nurse those. Now, the good news is he has like a 5-second gap between him and PM, so he can definitely back off a bit. PM221, he was the last driver to pit. 52 and 47% tire wear, but he's really having trouble, it seems, keeping that thing together. Going up against Yunvan. Now, Yunvan looks to try and get by PM. So we look at Yunvan's tire wear between 52 and 60%. Yunvan and PM are now in a... Oh, darn it. I accidentally swapped when I didn't want to. Yunvan and PM are in a very intense battle right now. I'm just going to go ahead and keep focusing on this until we get to the final lap, honestly. Our leader is going to be coming down to take 2 to go shortly.
Ferrari Boss is coming up on Rockmara, which I believe is still a lapped car.
And Yunvan has gotten by PM successfully after PM ran wide going through the final corner and ended up losing the spot to Yunvan going through turn 1. So now Yunvan moves into...
But I think it's safe to say that if Foxxy keeps the way that he's going, he has the win right under.
Yeah, he has a 10-second lead right now. He'd have to basically bin it coming out of the final corner for anything to, really change here. PM has caught Yunvan right here. He's trying to fight back, going through the left-hand corner, but there's just not enough room. Yunvan's not going to leave him enough room to fight back, and PM's actually going to back out of it just a bit as he runs through the dirt.
And as our leaders are on the final lap.
Yep. So looking back at our race leader, this is Foxxy Gaming HD. He won at Bathurst. He did open up a massive lead in that event early on, but then had to fight with Shum and Jacob for the rest of it. Just basically only really took it home in the final half of the final lap. He ended up winning Catalunya. Now he's well on his way to winning Lime Rock. Coming out of the final corner, Foxxy Gaming HD.
He's just going to coast.
He's gonna he's just gonna coast. No need for him to push it. He's gonna coast past and win his 3rd preseason event. 2nd place, here comes Ferrari Boss. He's gonna spin himself out past the line. Skulstro is gonna come home in 3rd position. 4th place should be Dragx Ferrari as he rounds the final corner here.
5th place comes the PM221 if he keeps it straight.
And it looks like he is going to keep it straight here. I don't know what happened to Yunbon to cause him to drop off because he was ahead last I looked, but Yunbon's going to fall up to 6th. That bearded guy, he's going to come out of the final corner, and he'll be coming home in the 7th position here. 8th is Kazubeli. So BMWs will come home 7th and 8th. And 9th should be Rock Morrow. As you pointed out, he's a lap down. So it'll take him a little bit longer to finish his race, but he's going to come by the line here. And that's it. That's a wrap for today's event. And we're going to go ahead and start trying to talk to various people, starting with Foxxy Gaming, who has won his 3rd preseason event. I hope some of them at least are able to come in. Alright. I'm gonna shoot another invite to Foxxy, see if he's able to join the party or not. That race was an hour and 28 minutes long. Christ. Okay, here we are. So we're gonna start with Victory Lane here. This is Foxxy Gaming HD. Go ahead, include your audio. Congratulations on your 3rd straight preseason win. What do you have to say, Foxxy?
Thank you. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting to win that one. I know the Ford was likely to be a strong car around here, backed up as well by how close qualifying was. But I guess they just had some bad luck in the race. I know Ludacris lagged out and Ferrari was involved in a couple incidents. So, well, I didn't have the car advantage here. I just got the luck apparently, and yeah, it was a good race.
Alright, so throughout the first section of the event, we saw you battling with Ludicrous Speed for 2nd, and then you seemed to drop off significantly. Were you involved in an incident, or were you trying to save tires, or what?
No, I messed up one of the corners and fell off the road, which gave them quite a large gap. So that's what that was. It wasn't that I was dropping off or anything.
Alright, well, anything else in general to say? I know we're going to head to another, we should be heading to another preseason race in like about 2 weeks, but anything else to say in general?
I don't know if he's listening or not, but I'd just like to say sorry to Ludicrous Speed for the little collision we had before the 2nd caution. So yeah, sorry to Ludicrous for that one.
Alright, well, you heard it here from our season race winner in Foxxy Gaming. Now we want to talk to our 2nd place finisher. Here's Ferrari Boss. Ferrari Boss, you have been impressive to watch throughout this event. Qualified
Thanks,
2nd.
man.
Go ahead and start your just thoughts on the race in general from the initial green flag.
I honestly thought I was gonna win, but I just made a small mistake at I think it was turn 4. Hold up, 1. Yeah, it's 3 or 4. I don't know which one. I clipped the grass and I kind of bent it into the barrier and dropped back and had to recover. I did a crazy dive bomb on Rockmar. I kind of apologize for that, but I saw a hole and I went for it. Kind of worked out at the end, but all in all, it was a good race. So.
Well, you absolutely showed some impressive strength from the 4 GTs. You were able to lead about the first 20 or so laps, and then even when you went to the back, you were able to claw your way. Every spot you made up was on track. It wasn't done by strategy. So do you think this bodes well for you going into the actual season start?
Yeah, it gives me a lot of confidence in the car now since I kind of dialed it in. I don't know about Daytona, but I will try my hardest. I've been overdriving the car way too much since my tires keep dying after probably the 30th lap this race.
All right. Well, you heard it here, folks, from our second place finisher, Ferrari Boss. Now we want to go ahead and talk to Exculsoro. Exculsoro, I hate to say it, I don't know if you showed up at Catalunya or not, but this is the first time I at least have seen you on track for a GT event since Suzuka. What do you have to say about your return thus far?
I'm loving it. It's actually quite enjoyable.
Is that it?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, well, I'll throw this one out to you. You seem to be the only car that could keep up with Foxxy that wasn't a Ford-branded machine. Is there any strategy behind that? Did you just have like some hidden pace or something, or what?
Just all handling. Checks. That's all it really come down to. In the first instant, like first couple of laps, you can see I'm on Jacob, but I can't get past him on the front straight because I have no top end.
Fair point. Any general, or just gonna go ahead and talk to your teammates who finished behind you? Also, what do you think about finishing better than both of your teammates? That's the other thing I gotta ask.
I'm
Just
quite
to
surprised.
rip them a bit.
Considering they both race a ton more than I do, I'm surprised they finished below me.
Alright, well, speaking of which, Dragos Ferrari, you came home fourth. Didn't really expect you to come home fourth. You kind of were stuck in the mid-pack or back of the pack most of the day. What was your entire race like? Alright, well, you heard it here from our fourth place finisher. Also, we want to... Alright, we want to talk to both... We want to try and talk to both PM and Yunbon both at the same time, because you guys put on a very nice show for about those last 25 laps there for that battle for fifth. Go ahead, like, tell us what your entire races were like, both of you.
First, well, basically, that man was just battling Corvettes the whole race. First it was Jacob.
Is he dead?
Deal with me, but it was fun. Honest, yeah.
Whoever's being spoken.
And Yunbon. Yeah, party's starting to crash, darn it.
Battle and everything, so.
There we are, Yunbon. You were crashed for the last like minute or so. Go ahead and say that again.
Over.
Not all of it, just not all of it, just
we
like
had
the
a good
last
race,
half
though.
minute.
Yeah, we had a good race and everything. It's just that the grass got me though. The grass just took me with it. And yeah, that's about it. But I congrats PM for the 5th place. Good job.
All right, and General, your thoughts on the event as a whole?
Yes.
All right, all right, all right. He was very honest about it. Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna try and see if I can talk to the bearded guy. I don't think I'll be able to, unless someone else is able to shoot him like an invite or something. It didn't seem like any invites I've sent gone through yet. The bearded guy. Yeah, okay. But let's see, is Kazubeli in the party? No, he's not either. Okay, well, Rockmara, I know you're in the party, and Rock, you pulled up the back of the field. Back of the finishing field in 9th. What was your race like, Rock?
It was frustrating, if we're being completely honest. I had a good run going. I was mid for the most of the race. And I hear you laughing back there. You can go die. And I just went off too many times and it kind of screwed my race.
Do you think there's anything significant you can change going forward into our final preseason race, which I believe is going to be in a week or two, and then the actual season?
Probably just the amount of focus and throttle control, because my throttle control is out of control. I'm sliding, I'm tight. It's bad. as Dragger says, it's either very good or very bad, and it's very bad right now.
All right, well, you heard it right here, folks. That's from Rockmore. We're going to try one more time, see if we can get in contact with Ludicrous Speed and get a word from him as to what brought such an early ending to his day and his day in general. If we're not able to, though, we'll talk to the series host very briefly. And yes, actually, Ludicrous Speed, it looks like he is going to be able to join us. So, Ludicrous Speed, you didn't finish. Go ahead and include your audio, though. What happened throughout the race today for you?
I don't know what happened. Well, we started off strong. Second, then taken first for a while. Foxxy was coming up on my outside. I'm thinking of Daytona for some reason. I'm thinking a week ahead. But we got on my driver's side. I went down to put a block, of course, not calculating the fact more momentum than I did going in there. Our bumpers touch, I overcorrect, eat barrier, and the rest is basically history. I ended up getting slid into that fast uphill corner, and I just put the parking brake in and just refused to move, and a couple of cars made contact, so I pulled out the caution there. It's been a rough day today, honestly, since that, once that happened, it was basically say it was going to be a rough day. And then, of course, DNFing was the final nail in the coffin right there.
What caused you to drop out? Was it lag or was it some other outside force?
It was lag.
Aliens abduct your car.
His parents installed Game of Thrones.
Definitely. The aliens from Independence, they decided to come back for round 3 and wanted to throw down on fisticuffs, Mortal Kombat style, so we kind of had to leave the We were Earth's representatives. Pretty shitty choice if you ask me, but hey, it's up to the president, right? Anyway, all jokes aside, yeah, we don't really, it was just a bad day. That battle with Draggers and Young Von, though, was quite fun going into that. I thought maybe things would start, I thought things were finally going to start turning around for me, and then I lagged. Okay,
sorry.
We're doing that now, Raj.
Alright, well, you heard it here
from last week.
We heard it here from Ludicrous Speed. So, one other question from our defending series champion. Do you think anything you took away from this race will help you for the rest of the series?
Well, glad to know that, obviously, I've been looking forward to this race for a good couple of weeks now because of the new upgrade package that was handed down on the Ford. We have thinner tires. So after doing some aero work, I was hoping maybe the aero would finally maybe go back to the way it was last year. I mean, it's not quite because of the thinner tires, but this track has clearly proven that it's up there and it's given us good hopes.
Alright, well, that's the word from our defending champion. So now, finally, before we start wrapping up, we're going to go ahead. Alright.
Not delivery, it's DiGiorno. Hey, one quick word. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. I wasn't paid to say that. Give me money.
It's not DiGiorno. It's not DiGiorno. It's dead people.
DiGiorno, if you're out there, please give me money. I'm
Hulu has live sports.
Alright. Well, there's your word from our defending series champion. We want to talk to our series head, Coco Gamer, real quickly, just for any final word and state on when the next races should be for the series, if he's here. All right, so just in case us on the broadcast end are not able to cover the Daytona preseasonal event, when should we expect the first actual points-paying race of the season to start at? All right, you heard it here, folks, from Series Head. Next week, anticipated for the final preseason event, and if for some reason that either does not happen or we are not able to broadcast it, expect a May 31st broadcast for the first actual points-paying event of the series season. Is there anything else you or anyone else here wants to say?
Rockmore dive bomb equals doom.
All right. Well, we're gonna start wrapping up for the we're gonna start wrapping up. But once again, to everyone who joined us and for this broadcast, thank you very much. Expect a possible broadcast next week. If not then, look forward to May the 31st. Until then, I've been Insane Leader 13, and this has been the third preseason race of the IESC GT Series.